morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. I want to welcome you to Create and Hustle, a show where you like to ask creators, how did you take your idea and turn it into a business? And as you know, you can only hear this show right here on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM. I am your host, Mush King. And this week, folks, we're talking about the monies. The creative monies that you need to build your business and creative ideas. And this week, I am joined by two special guests who are joining me in the Creative Corner to talk about grants and how you can use grants and apply them to your business. So, my first guest, she's doing amazing things, helping nonprofits learn how to apply grants to their businesses. My second guest is hosting a free 10-week class on how to write grants. And so you may need both. But thank you for joining me here on this show where we like to ask creatives how they took their ideas and turned it into a business. And if you didn't catch last week, then you should go and catch that. And also, ding, 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 ding. I hope you guys are subscribed to the YouTube. Because that's where it's at. That's where you can find all the interviews, all the people who slid through the Creative Corner and shared the gems with us. So be sure to go over there and subscribe. And as you know, you can always find this show and past episodes on YouTube now. Full episodes will be there, and also on all streaming platforms where you get your podcast services. The show will be live there. So let's not waste too much time. We are going to slide on over to the Creative Corner and talk to Shia Azu, the business architect, and she's going to tell us how to apply these grants to our creative projects. So let's go on over to the Creative Corner in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, today we are in the corner with Shia Azu, the business architect, and she is here to drop a little gems on something you guys may know as business grants. Shia, welcome to the Creative Corner on Create and Hustle. How are you doing today?
I'm amazing. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining us. So give us a little bit of background about what you do and, what you have going on.
So I'm Shia Azu, and I'm a business architect, and I teach people how to build a foundation for their business first, and then the rest of it brick by brick. So I have a thing where, do you want it to be quick, right? Do you want it to be not of good quality and flimsy, or do you want it to be steady, valuable, and sustainable?
And those are the key things. Like, it's either or. You're going to have one or the other. We're on 106.1 Richmond with Shia Azu. And one thing, when it comes to creating businesses, and this is the show where I like to ask creatives how they took their ideas and turned it into a business. And a lot of times money is a factor as to why you can't scale your business to something, even more. Give us a little bit of info about that and about grants and what a grant actually is.
Okay, so I'm a part of an amazing group. We're called the Black Entrepreneur Excellence Group. And the excellent part, a lot of people kind of shy away when they hear that because they think it's a standard. It is a standard, but you have to also take all the other words, the Black part and the entrepreneurial part. By human DNA and nature, we are entrepreneurial. You cannot take that out of someone's DNA, especially if you're Black. And when it comes to Black part of excellence, is we know how to do a lot with a little or nothing. Right? And
Exactly.
So that's where we come in, where a majority of the clients, participants we work with, they are startups. We're from startups to medium. And what happens, they come to us and they say, I don't have the money to do X, Y, and Z. You don't have the money if you stay not doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So I'm the mindset coach. Every Monday I have calls and I'm talking about mindset, because it's the mind over matter situation. I'm going to be stressed if I invest. I'm going to be stressed if I take on another thing. You're going to be stressed if you stay at that low paying job.
Yeah.
So which stress do you want?
That's so true. Pick a struggle.
Yeah. So that's what I do. When it comes into grants, especially with anyone who's not familiar with it, it's the difference between a loan and a grant. Really basic stuff, right? But it's important to know if someone's offering you terms, conditions, repayments, that's not a grant, that's a loan.
That's a loan.
We don't need any loans. When you come to look for grants, The number one thing is confidence. If you can read and write, you can get a grant. And if you can't read and write, you know somebody who can read and write. Come on, somebody. So the
That's so
number
true.
one thing I do, honestly, I get paid to boost people's confidence. I sit with you, I hold your hand in a sense and tell you you can do this. And I remind people of the audacity of where we live in this country. America was built on audacity, and it's not debatable.
That's
It
very
was
true.
built on audacity, right, to get certain things done. And it was built on the idea of by any means necessary. If nothing else, I think we can agree on that to a certain extent. You take that same foundational idea of audacity and you act like your program is worth that money. I'm going to ask, let's say I have a need in my organization, it's $500.
Mhm.
No, it's $5,000. Because what you can do with 500, you can do with 5,000 on a bigger scale. So I'm constantly boosting people's confidence in themselves,
To take the
number one,
chance.
and your business. And I have, well, that's a lot of money. What's a lot of money to a millionaire, to a billionaire, to a corporation? That's a lot of money to you.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly saying, okay, if you won't do it for yourself, do it for your community. Do it for your kids. Do it for your grandkids. Like I'm constantly boosting, like ask for the money. And so let's use this thing. When your light bill comes, does it have a note? Hey, if you can pay us, please pay us by this date. Or do they just send you the bill?
Yeah.
They
That's
just
very
send you
true.
the bill. And so
You,
mindset. Go ahead.
you're listening to Create and Hustle on 106.1 Richmond FM. And I'm here with Shia Azu, who is a business architect, and we're sitting here discussing grants. So one thing that I wanted to kind of shift the conversation towards, like, what areas or arenas do you find that grants are easier to obtain? Like, is there a certain field or industry?
No. The reason why I say that is because the donor and grantee relationship is it's a reciprocal relationship, is reciprocity. So just like an organization needs money to fund its employees or its projects, a funder needs an organization to fund. It's not necessarily free money. Nothing's really free, right? So what is the funder getting? The funder is
Okay.
getting tax write-offs because either they're going to give it to you or they're going to give it to Uncle Sam. Who would you rather give to? The IRS
Yeah.
or a
I'll take
nice little
that. Thank
grassroots
you.
organization,
Yeah.
right? So it depends on your funder. I don't like to say if things are, I guess, easier to obtain because it just depends on the actual grant and what you're going for in the industry. I don't think there's an industry that cannot be funded and granted.
And in that same regard, as far as getting a grant,
Mhm.
when you write a grant and do grant presentations, like, what do you say has to be in there? Like, what is going to get that approved? Like, what element, should you always involved in the grant writing process?
I'm gonna say this. It goes back to what you can write for. So let's take a piece of it. If you can read and write, you can do a grant. It depends on how much detail you want to use and what the grantor is looking for. The problem is people don't look at grants. They don't even know what they look like. They haven't even searched for one. So how can you say you cannot or how hard something is if you have not tested your own level in it?
Yeah,
And
that's
so
very true.
people are, it's a rumor. It's a rumor. Oh, it's hard to get. Oh, you can't. Who told you these things? So and so told you. Has so and so gotten any grant? Has so and so written a grant? Do they have any fundraisers? Do they have donors? Do they have a funding base? Do they? Who told you this? And so when I sit down with clients and I go through a program where we fill out the grant, we make the programs, we do the templates, and I send it, and they're like, "That's it." I'm like, "That's it.
That's it. That's it.
That's
It's
it."
funny that you say that, because a lot of times, like, I tell people all the time, like, there's no right. You just got to do it. And if it's wrong, someone will let you know along the way, but you just got to keep trying stuff to let you
Yes.
know. Can you, and the last question that I have for you is, and you kind of answered it already, Should you go out and spend money on a grant writer?
Yes and no. Number one, what is a grant writer? I have a lot of people who come to me and they say, I want you to write a grant for me, Shia. I said, what for what? For my business. But what about your
For what?
business?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they said, well, I'm gonna hire somebody. What's your job description? What do they do? I had a woman who came to me. She had a grant writer for 12 weeks. She paid her $2,500. That's not anything really for a grant writer. And you can get them on different scales for different things. I
Hmm.
said, how much money did you get? She said, nothing. I said, what grants did she write for? She said, I don't know. So you don't even have a record of who may have seen you previously, so you can go back to them and maybe be more familiar with them this time. So the number one thing before you get a grant writer is you need to know what a grant writer is, what they do, and their metrics. How do you measure what you gave them in money versus what they
Mm.
spent in time and actual working on your behalf? I want a grant writer. I want a grant writer. I want money. I want money. If you don't have capital in your business, as I told them, if you don't have capital, where are your connections?
That's
Because
a good
somebody
response.
knows somebody who knows somebody who knows
They
somebody,
know somebody.
right? So
We've
we got
been
to be
kicking it
strategic.
in the creative corner with Shia Azu, the business architect. Shia, I really enjoyed this information because, like, grants is something that I really need to explore because I'm running a whole podcast network here, and it's something that I've been looking into. So this information is helpful. Tell the people where they can find you, and what things you have coming up and all of that.
Okay, awesome. So I am a part of the B Group. I'm a co-founder. It's the Black Entrepreneur Excellence Group. You can go to the bgroup.net and find me. I'm on Facebook under Shia, Shia Azu, Azu. I'm in all the nonprofit corners and groups, dropping as much knowledge as I can. And I'm just excited to see us go after what we need, right? But confidently, right?
Amen.
Confidently,
Confidently.
confidently.
Well, guys, this has been the Creative Corner on Creative Hustle, where we like to ask creatives how they took their ideas and turned it into a business. Shia, thank you for joining me, and we will talk soon.
Absolutely.
I want to thank Shia for sliding through the Creative Corner and letting us know those fun little tactics about grants. Like, listen, she said, if you can write, you can apply for a grant. So that's her perspective on things. But I like to always get various perspective on things because you might hear from one person, but you might hear from the next, and that person may speak your language. So be sure to follow Shia and everything that she's doing over there. But now we are going to head back into the Creative Corner and talk to Tamia Parker, who is hosting a free, that's right, folks, I said free, 10-week course on how to actually write a grant. So let's go back into the Creative Corner and talk the money. All right, we are back in the Creative Corner on Create and Hustle, where we like to ask creatives, how did you take your idea and turn it into a business? And now we are joined with Tamia Parker, who is having a special grant class. Now, I know you guys been listening to me talk about money and all of that. So now Tamia is going to help you try to fund your business, your creative project, or all of that. So Tamia, welcome to Create and Hustle. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you for joining me. So, the power of the internet is something that I always say is great. And today I just happened to be on Facebook exploring the world. And I came across, you came across a post that I had posted about grant writing, and you are putting together a grant course. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I work as an executive director for a nonprofit organization in Dallas, Texas called Commissary is Very Necessary. And what we do is we're an opportunity organization. So we like to bring opportunities to the residents in our communities and those that we serve. So a lot of people in our communities open nonprofits, and a nonprofit is non-profit for a reason. Like we're not really in it to make the money, but at the end of the day, you gotta get the money if you want to serve the people.
Exactly.
So we offer a free grant writing class, which is online. So it doesn't matter where you are, you can join the grant writing class, and it's free. It's 10 weeks. We are in partnership with Legal Aid of Northwest Texas here
Okay.
in um, in Dallas. So we're both in partnership. So our organization does 5 weeks and their organization does 5 weeks. We get into the grant writing, like what you need to do, tips and tricks and like things that people really don't tell you when it comes to grant writing. And what legal aid does is they get into like the business side of learning how to fill out your 990 EZ and learning about the tax, like the tax franchise that you have to do every year, but they teach you how to fill out that one little form where you never have to fill out that form again. So it's just
Mm,
little bitty things that you might not know. This class will teach you, it'll just, give you some tips and tricks, because at the end of the day, grant writing is not easy. So if anybody told you that, they are lying, okay? But it is rewarding and it's fun, and if you know what to do, you could be even more successful. So that's what we like to teach them.
we're in the Creative Corner on 106.1 FM Richmond with Tamia Parker, who is here, and she is going to be one of the leaders of a grant writing course that is happening online. So, question for you: is this one of the first grant writing classes that you guys are doing, or is this something that you have done before? Tell us a little bit about
Yes,
that.
this is not the first class. We have been doing this for like 2 years now, but this is the first time that we've actually been in partnership with Legal Aid of Northwest Texas. So this is really going to be like this is just such a great opportunity because you get like the personal side and you get the business side. When
Mm-hmm.
I teach a class, I'm keeping it personal because I write grants all the time. So I know exactly what I'm talking about, And when they do the business side, these are lawyers, so they're talking about the
Got
paperwork
you. The
and the
paperwork.
things that you need to fill out to make sure that you stay in compliance and you don't lose your nonprofit, or your business, because there are grant opportunities for small businesses as well, especially if you are a woman of color, there are definitely a lot of funding opportunities out there for for-profit businesses as well. So,
So Tamia, let me ask you also, when it comes to grant writing, let's say I don't know anything about anything, I might know how to write a paper because I went to school or something like that. Where would I go to kind of search my grant opportunities to kind of see what's out there and what matches the field that I'm in?
you would go to Google. Okay, you would go
Yo,
to
it's
Google.
so funny you say it. People hate when you say that. I tell people that all the time. It's open 24/7. You could
I
go.
mean, you would type in grants for whatever you're in Virginia. Even you could even get it down to Richmond if you wanted to. And because the best place to get grants from is from the foundations that's in your city. Like
Ooh.
I'm going for a Dallas foundation, Trust me. There's gonna be a Richmond foundation. Like you have foundations in your city that are right there for you and they're getting it more into black and people of color, so they're getting more interested in giving money for that because it's about time, after 2020 it's about time. So it's a
So
lot of opportunities.
is this something that the pandemic kind of brought on? Because I know you said 2 years, and then now we're coming up on 2 years after going into the pandemic. Was this something that you started kind of because of that, or was it something you were doing prior to that?
Well, before the grant writing, we were really out there in the streets, really like trying to protect our apartment complexes. It was more about public safety
Oh
because a
wow,
lot of
okay.
things were happening. So we had our strong black men out there, protecting the communities. But as the world shut down, and there was a lot of opportunities for people to get money, people didn't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? And even when the grants started arising, you saw them piling up. People didn't know how to apply. People didn't know even, the first thing about writing grants. And that's where the free grant and writing class came into. So yeah, it was definitely spun from a need from the pandemic, but this is free. As a nonprofit organization, we are giving this service for free. And I created a workbook they can take with them that gives them valuable information on how to write a grant. It's basically a grant written out for you, but with detail of this is what you need to put in this particular spot. So, I can't do more for you than write the grant myself. You know what I'm saying? So I think I've given a great tool for the people who come to the class.
Well, people, you heard it first. Tamia has been giving us gems on grants and everything that they could do for you and your business. So, Tamia, let the people know where they can find you online, how they can get some assistance if they needed a word or two, and also how they can register for the class, because I may need to step up in there.
Okay. So our website is www.civn.org. That stands for Commissary is Very Necessary. And you can sign up for the class up until about, I'll give you 5:45. You can sign up for that class and I'll send you the Zoom link. I was thinking about putting it online maybe next time. The class is 10 weeks, like I said. So every Tuesday at 6 p.m., there will be a class on free grant writing. And it will either be CIVN or Legal Aid Northwest Texas. But we're going to be in the house every week. So we want to make
something
sure
you have
that
to do the whole 10 weeks?
You do not have to do it the whole 10 weeks. It's free, so it's all about you and your time and when you want to come. But we will be discussing different things every time. So it won't always be the same exact topic. But we're recording it as well. So we will, once we have all the recordings together, we'll put it out there for people who miss classes. So, but yes, CIVN.org. That's where you can go.
CIVN.org. You guys heard it first from Tamia Parker. Thank you, Tamia, for coming into the Creative Corner and sharing your thoughts with us on Create and Hustle, the show where we like to ask creatives, how did you take your idea and turn it into a business? And Tamia is helping us write these grants, y'all, so y'all better get on it. Thank you for coming and joining us, Tamia. We will talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Hey, what's up, friends? Welcome to Create and Hustle, a show where we like to ask creatives how to turn your ideas into a business. If you have a product or business that you like to come on here and talk about, be sure to visit us at CRE8NHSTLE.com or email us today at CRE8NHustle@gmail.com and see how you can hop on into the Creative Corner. Now back to the show. So I want to thank my guest, Tamia Parker, for sliding on into the Creative Corner and sharing a free 10-week course. I mean, listen, she said you don't got to visit every single class. So be sure to go ahead and cop that information at CIVN.org, where you can find her information about what she's doing with the grant writing process. And you can also get the information for free, folks. But it's about time for me to slide on up out of here. And as you know, this is the show where we like to ask creatives how they took their ideas and turned it into a business. And you can only hear this right here on ESPN Richmond 106.1 FM, folks. I'm your boy, Mush King. Follow me on the socials. Mush King __ is where you can find me. And like I said, be sure to visit CRE8NHustle.com for more information about the show. Go subscribe to the YouTube, because why not? The party is there, and that's where they are dropping the gems. They're dropping the gems, and plus you can catch up on all the creative and dope projects that I'm working on with the CWF network and everything that we're doing over there. So big things coming for 2022. So be sure to stay tuned. Each and every Thursday, 5:30 a.m. is where you can catch me right here on Create and Hustle. I'll catch you later, folks. I'm out.